Hi guys, and welcome to the third episode of Machina. So in the previous episode I told you about the different schools of improv. So before I show you the improv techniques and give you the codes of improv, I first need to make few categorizations. But careful, this is my vision of the theories. I haven't found any consensus on that. But since it has been very helpful for me, I think it'll be useful for you too. So I have already talked about the game-based improv theorized by Viola Spolin. I will split this first category into two types. First, the rule-based improv, which are games where the rules are known by the audience and most of the players, and the organic improv, with games which rules are not known by anyone because we invent them on the spot. And the other category, which is the storytelling improv, where we try to narrate or invent a story, which is a strong suit of Keith Johnston. So there are scenes and shows that are quite transverse to these categories, and the theories I am going to talk about do not strictly respect this degree of separation. Wait, actually you're saying that this whole category thing is just bullshit. No, you idiot. Because this distribution is consistent with the teaching methods that we use. And today we are going to talk about the rule-based improv. Okay, so we are going to talk about theater games, just like in Whose Line Is It Anyway, which are games where the rules are clearly established with the audience and the players, even if sometimes an improviser don't have all the information, just like in speed dating or party quirks, where an improviser has to guess the quirks that have been given to the other players. It's fun because of two things. Because you meet the challenge, like singing in a rhyme with a given theme and a given style.
It was a koala coming from Australia.
Or fail gallantly.
It was a koala. Ooh.
Enjoyed eating in general. Knowing that, you already see one of the most fundamental principles of improv: failing is good. This mindset shift is not easy because we have always been taught the opposite. That's why a significant part of the work of Viola Spolin is based on the development of intuition as a method to access knowledge, in opposition to a purely logical approach. Because when you are purely logical, you get caught in self-analysis and self-judgment while you play, and you create your own roadblocks. But actually on stage you are the worst person to judge your performance. So Spolin was trying to free the intuition, which later she will call the X zone. Because for her, certainty comes from intuitive consciousness. To activate this way of thinking, you have to be thrown off balance and keep your concentration, or point of concentration, which she will later call the focus. So you forget about your intellect and your acquired knowledge. So to be a bit more concrete, how do you learn to improvise? You learn through experience. How do you make the most of your experience? By being completely committed, intellectually, physically, and intuitively. And this last part is often neglected. So how do you free your intuition? You first have to free your spontaneity. How do you free your spontaneity? Spolin defines 7 ways to encourage spontaneity. Number 1, playing. Fun frees intelligence, and with that, learning. A game is based on a crisis, a problem, or a goal to reach. But since it's only a game, we completely forget about any idea of constraint or psychological conflict. We become completely dedicated to the resolution of the problem, and we start to create solutions. Besides, the players naturally show some self-discipline by respecting the rules of the game of their own free will. Why? Because it's more fun like this. 2. Get rid of the principle of approval-disapproval. Failing is good. You can take any game, that's when you fail that the fun begins. In Risk, for example, no one remembers the guy who managed the war perfectly and won everything. But we do remember the one guy who lost a battle at 50 against 3 because he fumbled all his dice rolls. In improv, it's just the same, and I didn't choose this game randomly. In improv, you have to maximize the risks, because it's when you take chances that massive failures or epic victories happen. In any case, something is happening, and that's what we want to see. And we want to see improvisers that keep smiling even when it doesn't work. Failing is even telling you that you are going the right way. Keith Johnston tells his improvisers, try to fail at least twice per show. Because if you never make mistakes, it means that you're not taking enough risk and that's not how you improve, it's not how you end up doing great shows. I told you in the previous episode that few theorists of improv had an approach completely opposed to the classical method of teaching. That's exactly what we are talking about. Being right, minimizing the risk, that's what we learn in school. While failure is shown as something completely negative. It's almost synonymous now. Failure equals no good. In improv you learn that a honest failure is a sign of a healthy artistic path. Once you got rid of that, you understand that playing frees your real self. 3. The group. The group can create some perverse effects that can kill spontaneity, like mechanism of shyness.
Don't look at me, I'm not worth it.
Or exhibitionism.
Look at me, love me, love me. Look at me, love me.
Also, the group creates conformism, like a group of women who spend a lot of time together and synchronize their menstruation. Protect your differences. Be very careful with that because that's what makes the richness of your improv. Finally, the group creates competition. We always compare each other. Even if some formats sell this competition, the players must avoid it absolutely. Because it creates tensions and mostly a dispersion of energy through compulsive behaviors. Meaning that success becomes more important than the game. People start to cheat and to invest their energy toward the victory rather than the game itself. At the end of the day, you don't have fun anymore and you feel cheated when you win because you suddenly realize that you spent a lot of energy in a victory that didn't really matter. For the audience. The audience must be considered as a full member of the game. Unlike other artistic or sport events, the audience are not mere judges or people simply coming to be entertained. They want to play with you. So you have to make sure that you free the spontaneity of the audience during a show. And that requires a lot of good nature. Welcome your audience with a lot of love. Give them the impression that any idea can and will be explored, even if sometimes you should kindly reject a few. Give them this comfort. Then the players, by identification to the audience, will free their spontaneity. 5. The theater techniques. Spolin said that the theater techniques are only communication techniques, but they are useless if they are used as mechanisms. To understand them and master them, you first have to experiment intuitively through the game and then learn the techniques. Otherwise you kill all spontaneity. That's why I don't talk about the improv techniques yet, but first about the way to approach them and the concept revolving around it. So play first. 6. Learning through life. To improve his skills, an actor has to sharpen his senses, his perception of the world, and that's exactly what the theater environment tries to recreate. That's why it's only within a troupe that you can experiment correctly and develop your potential. Nevertheless, there are still a few exercises that you can practice in your daily life to see the world differently, absorb it with your senses, and bring it back spontaneously in the game. 7. And last one, the physicality. So why do you need to sharpen your senses? Because any acting is based on the relationship between senses and body. Open, word-absorbing senses makes for an expressive body. That's how you free your physical spontaneity. That's how you can explore the world of a scene, move forward, and take the audience with you. Especially in improv, where you don't have any costume, any setting, nothing. So we have to play everything physically to give it a body. Once you have done that, you can kill your inner censor. You know, the one that says,
Dude, you're not gonna do that, right? It sucks. Ugh. No one will love you.
You don't think anymore about what you feel, you just live it. That's why Keith Johnson says, don't act, just be. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Ex Machina. Don't hesitate to subscribe, to like or to share this video. To make all the theories a little bit more concrete, I propose that you watch a great musical improviser, Mr. Reggie Watts. You will find all the principles I've just explained and amazing songs. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Bye.
Baguette.